So for those of you who are on the audio and the visual journey, as you can see, is now a white man with a beard and is Canadian. I'm joking.
Not a smooth head.
Yeah, not the Nas fade. But D is still resting up. So tonight, Kyle, the great Senra says, has graciously joined us tonight for this episode to speak on it. Kyle, I want to do intros, and then I have a question that I wanted to ask you face to face for a while. But first, can you let the people know who you are, what you do, anything you want to plug?
So I'm Kyle Senra, as Danny graciously introduced me. You can follow me on Twitter at Senra Says. And I am part of the Going42 family. Host a lot of shows, podcasts, live streams for Going42. Most notably in season, last year I was doing the Sunday morning and the Monday night pregame streams. So definitely busy and could foresee doing both of those shows again. So look for me then. Off season right now, not regularly hosting anything with Going42, but I will say Jeff just kind of behind the scenes. It's not officially out yet, but we do it every year. Live streams during the NFL draft. You've been part of those in the past, so we'll cover all 3 days and we'll basically cover the entire draft and talk all sorts of fun stuff. A lot of fantasy football talk, of course, here on the Going42 Network. We love fantasy football. Everyone here, including the great people in the chat. Jamie, of course.
Not both of our names are Kyle Senra. That's crazy. Hold on. How did that? You know what? I'm going to keep it because that's a cool name, and I'm going to keep it, and I don't know how to change it.
Thank you. So, Portuguese. So, Kyle, I think is Scottish, actually, or Gaelic. But yeah,
I'm actually trying to learn Spanish. Like, I've been using Duolingo. Today was day 100. I'm starting to get the hang of it. So, there it is. That's how we added the name. Hopefully it doesn't change it for both of us. Thank you, JB. All right. Now that the intros are done, everyone welcome to episode 179 to speak on it. I am your host, Danny Ocean. Cal just introduced himself. D is resting up from knee surgery. Get better, D. Hope to see you next week. I think he is at a pre-op appointment today. The surgery was last week. Sound like it went well. I think today's the follow-up.
You mean post-op?
Post-op, thank you. Thank you. I'm so locked in on this question. So for those of you who don't know, Cal did not tell you what he really does. Cal is in a band. And the other week, Cal sent us a cover of his band covering Sweetest Taboo by Sade. And for the kids, just go on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you use, and just Google Sweetest Taboo. Kyle, where did you learn how to play the guitar? Like, there's a moment in that video where you can see that you're just like locked in and you're in a groove. And it's fast. It's beholden to watch. I was like, man, like I wish I was as good as at anything as Kyle was as covering Sade songs on the guitar.
I think you do a pretty fantastic job hosting. That's really the show. That's the only interaction I've had with you. So I can't speak to the rest of the things in your life. But firsthand, I'd say you're pretty good at that. But honestly, I learned guitar in high school. It was ninth grade music. Really, that's where I primarily learned to play the bass, but I got the fingers going on a fretboard and expanded to play the guitar and play all sorts of different stringed instruments. Had some bands in high school, and I was definitely playing mandolin at some points, even in high school. So, yeah, play a lot of different styles of music, and found Patrick here in Sudbury, and we formed a band together, and started working together. I think it's 2016, so almost a decade now, and we've certainly locked in, and one of the many cover songs we do, but we do a ton of original music. Patrick's a great songwriter and producer. He does a bunch of great albums, great music. So it's a lot of fun, but high school music class. So thank you, Canadian education system.
Yeah, it's better than some I know. I had a follow-up. So have you ever been like on tour before? And these are questions I've always wanted to ask you, but I feel like this is more of a conversation instead of like a Twitter DM. So have you ever been on tour before?
Not on tour. We've done a couple shows out of town, but never actually gone on a full-fledged tour.
How is a show, like from a musician standpoint? Like, I know I go to a show, you buy a ticket, you stay in the crowd, you have a good time. Like, how long does it take for the nerves to settle?
I don't know. I think at this point, the nerves the good nerves in the back of your head that let you know, okay, this is important. Like, do your best. Like those nerves never go away, and that's a good thing, right? You want to always show up and play the best you can. But I think nervous being on stage, I think I've kind of really gotten over that. I don't know. I remember even just like the first concert we did in that high school music class. I thought, I can handle this pretty well, and certainly helps with live streaming. Figure if I can talk to the whole internet, but without actually seeing anyone, that's just as easy as playing in a room full of people as well. So like, I don't know. I think I can handle everything pretty well, and I think I'd be much more nervous if I had to sing. I think having a guitar is pretty comforting. You can just hide behind the guitar and do cool stuff, and people like it. And so it's really, I think I'm pretty good at it. If you're good at it, it's tough to mess that up. So I don't know. I think if I didn't have a guitar, I'd probably feel a lot different, a lot more nervous. But it's a comforting feeling. I just love playing guitar, especially guitar and bass, so much that playing either of those instruments on stage just feels pretty natural.
That's interesting. I would feel like being the singer would be the easiest, right? Because if you mess up, you can always just stop singing and like put the mic to the crowd. Or you can,
that's true, yeah.
Or you
There's
can
tricks.
Like,
good front men or front women always have tricks, but it's your own voice though, right? Like, I mean, the guitar is an instrument someone else made. I'm playing it, but it's still not my true own voice, and that's really like, I think
that's true. But I feel like
exposing. So yeah, I'm not a great singer, so I also feel like I wouldn't do very good at it.
I got you, but I
I'm
do
sure
like
a great singer probably thinks like you. Like they think, oh yeah, I could easily sing it. Having to play another instrument, oh, that'd be risky.
Yeah, because if someone messes up the keys or the guitar, you can hear it, and it's like, that didn't sound right. But again, if the singer's like, I'm losing my voice, yeah, you guys go, or you can just like vibe with the musicians. But yeah, I never thought of it like that. Okay.
The one thing I've never played live is drums either. I can play drums, but I'm not that great to like. That's something where I'd always be pretty nervous to play live, because if the drums mess up, like that will be evident to the whole band, to the whole crowd. So yeah, I don't know. I think get away with it a little more on guitar and bass, but I think I do pretty good.
I got you. Do you prefer? And this is my last question. I promise you guys will get to sports. These are just questions I've always wanted to ask Kyle. Is there like a certain genre of music you enjoy playing? Like, do you prefer to do covers? Do you prefer doing like original music more?
I think playing. No, I think in theory I do like playing original music more, just because we're showcasing what we've done, not just as performers but as creators and artists. But when it comes to, I just love playing, so it's super fun playing music, and playing music live is also quite a blast, quite a rush. So covers, originals, I think as long as playing really well, that's what matters the most.
Okay, I can dig it. That's all I got for now. I'm gonna keep churning back my mind. I've never talked to like a musician in real life, face to face, who's like played in front of crowds. So it's just fascinating to me.
And again, I mean, D, to be fair, with all his DJ stuff, I mean, he's performing quite a lot too. So you're getting a bit of exposure here as he's, getting insight him, because he's just started. Like, I mean, since he's been doing this podcast you longer than he's been DJing, right? So you've got to see him since inception of his DJ time frame.
He DJ'd on one leg for a month. That's the most impressive thing I think.
Patrick broke his leg, PA the second, in my band, and he had to play some shows in a makeshift cast, and yeah, no, still singing, still trying to dance as best he could. So, the show must go on.
It would not be me. Let me tell you something. If I blow my knee out, I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting at home. Like, hey, Bam. Like, Bam blew his bicep. I think every picture I've seen of him, he's sitting on the sofa.
Well, I mean, good for Bam. Like, so, heal up well, right? Whether that's to Bam and to D, both of you. Like,
oh, well, Bam's fine now. He's just milking the system. Like, he needs to get his ass up and go back to work. Like, right? He's fine now. This is last year, and he's still milking it. Like, Bam, get your ass up and go to work. It's time. Just a nice little troll job. I love you, Bam. Tonight, we're going to talk some NFL. We're going to talk a little hoops. The national championship game for the men and women were this weekend. Kyle has a lot to talk about towards the end. We're going to talk about some curling. Alex Ovechkin passed Wayne Gretzky. We're going to park in fantasy for a while. Kyle made a trade with Jason. I think the draft is in a month, I'm going to say?
The NFL draft or our rookie draft?
Our rookie draft. It's in a month,
It says 25 days.
It's in 25 days? Okay.
May 4th.
May
Hey,
4th.
May the 4th be with you. That's our draft day. That's
May the 4th be with that.
I'm pretty sure my rookie draft in my salary cap contract league last year was that, and in the 4th I picked Jaden Daniels on May the 4th. So I think I went and watched it after. Felt like Jaden Daniels was the new hope that my franchise needed.
I was about to say that was a hell of a pick. We're going to start with the NFL.
I was trying so hard to trade up for him, and no one wanted him. But no one wanted to take him either. But no one wanted to trade up. They were all set on their guys. So I kind of just got lucky that he fell to me.
Sometimes luck is better than skill. That's how sometimes I feel going into our draft. Granted, I have number 2 overall pick, so it's not going to take a lot of luck. It's just going to be who's first after Ashton Genty, and that's something I have been struggling with. But we'll get into that a little bit later. We're going to start briefly in the NFL. Not a lot has happened since the last time this show was on the air. The big one is Shedeur Sanders had his pro day. I think the biggest thing I learned from the pro day is that you shouldn't be patting the ball before you throw it. That has turned into some random discussion on Twitter against professionals. Travis Hunter, I think, showed he was the best player in the draft. I love that he didn't catch the ball with any gloves. He was like, I just want to show you how sticky my hands are, which is a crazy thing to say. Don't go around saying that in public because you might go to jail. Kyle, did you get a chance to watch anything from Colorado's pro day? Do you take anything from it about Shedeur's draft stock? Do the Giants have a real decision at 3 now with Travis Hunter and the way he performed?
I mean, I'm really just a fantasy football guy. So as much as I'm you kind of project a little bit. I think it's fun, but I frankly don't try to pretend to know who's going to go where and how it's going to affect his stock. I'm in one rookie draft that happens before the NFL draft. I literally don't have any picks in 2025. I've already traded my first in 26. So I kind of treat that league as I'd rather not have to make those decisions before the draft is kind of how I've approached it. I'll just trade my picks away for the best players I can. So I don't have to have all this pressure on myself to make these decisions before the NFL draft. So I don't watch pro days or anything.
So you treat that league the way Bam treats our league?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, I would say Bam's had more success than I have in that league because I don't think I've made the playoffs yet in that league, unfortunately.
If there's one thing Bam is going to do, it's set his draft picks on fire. That is a certain. But he tries to win, so I can't blame him. I'm with you. I don't watch pro days. I don't watch the glorified workouts. I don't want to watch a bunch of guys in shorts throw. It doesn't make a difference to me. From a fantasy perspective, I am, because we're going to a super flex league next year, and right now my quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts and Kirk Cousins, so I am in the market for that second quarterback. Like, I have been talking to myself about Shedeur. Like, is it worth a trade up in our rookie draft, or do I wait it out and hope Arch Manning comes out next year and I can get my hands on him? So that's the only reason I've really been paying attention. I think Shedeur, it depends on where he ends up. If he's a New York Giant, Malik Neighbors is there, right? These are the conversations I'm having with myself. But pro day wise, I'm even talking myself into potentially drafting Travis Hunter because I know I have 102. But other than that, I think I have 201. I have it right here. Yeah, I have 202, 302, and 304. But I have a lot of assets next year, so I don't know. Like, we'll see how the board falls. I'm not a pro. I don't watch Cam Ward's pro day. Like, you're supposed to look good in shorts. If you don't look good in shorts, pack it up.
And I know, I'll plug something here from, I guess the guy in the comment too, Jamie. He and I co-host a show now on the Fantasy Six Pack Network. It's called Dynasty Six Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be talking about rookie wide receivers. Last week, we talked about rookie running backs, and maybe some relevance there for you, Danny. We really talked about Omarion Hampton and the potential of him being the 102. In fact, in our Trade of the Week segment at the end of the show, we analyzed a trade that involved the 101 and the 102. What was kind of like, what is the difference in price between them, and kind of use Omarion Hampton as a player take. If you are putting players to these names, it seems like Hampton in a lot of leagues going as the 102. So the fact that our league's a one QB league this year, even if it's going to Superflex next year, he's probably a really good pick especially if he gets first round cap. Running backs in the first round, that's usually a pretty good sign. So I wouldn't fault you for going running back right there. Depends on how you think of these receivers. And I think one discussion we're going to have tomorrow night is Travis Hunter, that upside of should he even be the 101 overall? Like, should we having him in the discussion with Genty. So I don't think it's depending on where he goes and what the team he goes to wants to use him as. I don't think that's an unreasonable take either. So you definitely have options.
Yeah, it's the gift and the curse of having a 102. I tried trading for 101, but the price was just too damn high. I have enough receivers. I'm still big game hunting for an elite pass catcher, but no one wants to play ball, so I'm gonna stick to where I am right now in regards to that front. I've been trying. If you are in here, I still want Justin Jefferson. I've offered the house for Justin Jefferson. He just refuses.
I mean, and I'll give him and Achille credit, right? Like I've gone hard after Justin Jefferson and not CD Lamb. Well, now Achille is CD Lamb. That's my fault. But Jefferson and Jamar Chase, I've made crazy offers for both of them, and Achille and Jason have both steadfastly stood pat and said, no, I'm not trading these guys. So
yeah, I've stopped talking to Achille about Jamar Chase because it's like Jason budges a little bit more. Like Jason will at least entertain you. Achille's like, nah, don't even come over here with this foolishness. So fair enough. Other stuff in the NFL, I really don't think anything. The only thing noted from an Eagles standpoint is the tush push will probably be banned next month. And fuck you guys. You are some suckers. Sean McVay.
Are they not? Okay, so they're pushing it back just a month. I thought they were pushing it back a whole season.
No. So the owners are going to vote for it, and the owners only meeting in May. So the meetings this past month included like coaches and GMs and owners. The meetings in May are just for owners in Minnesota. So they tabled it so they can vote in May. It takes, I think, 24 teams would need to vote yes to ban it. Right now they have 16. So they have 6 weeks to get 8 votes. I feel like they're going to get those votes, and I feel like the tush push is going to be banned, and it makes me very angry.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Jalen Hurts in Dynasty. That hurts me.
It hurts.
Man, Packers, like, you couldn't have focused on, like, trying to get better in the offseason. Because, man, I thought they had a pretty lackluster free agency period. I don't know if I can remember what D thought of the Packers moves, but I didn't love them paying all this money to Aaron Banks to just, it didn't, in a sense, it solves the problem of Josh Myers, right? Like he was kind of the weak link on the offensive line. The natural thought is, okay, can you get a center upgrade? Can you get a better center out there? And they decided, let's pay top of the line money to a guard so we can move our all-pro level guard to center and hope that improves the line. And you find better players in the line should be better, but the guard position doesn't get better by doing this. The center position probably does, but Jenkins also hasn't played center outside of a game or two or a few snaps. He hasn't really played center since he was in college, which he did a lot of. So he's capable of snapping. The game he replaced Myers last year, there was a few bad snaps, but it's also like, okay, he really hasn't done this very much. So this year he's doing it full time in training camp. Like I imagine that'll get cleaned up, and I think he plays pretty well at center. But it just felt like you could have spent less money and got an actual center, and you could have kept Jenkins at guard where he's just been excelling and dominant. And I think he could still do that from the center position, but if he can't, then I think you lose something. So I didn't love that from the Packers. Nate Hobbs made sense in terms of getting cornerback depth, but especially if they're losing Jair Alexander, they've got a lot of players that can play that slot corner, which is where Hobbs has mostly played, and not a lot of experienced guys that play better on the perimeter. So I like it, but I prefer it if they keep Alexander at this point, because that's one of your outside guys, either Valentine or Nixon on the other side. And unless Hobbs can play on the outside, and maybe that's the replacement plan. So it's just some confusing things from the Packers. They didn't really do much else. They re-signed some players. McCole Hardman, I think, was the next biggest free agent signing. I just thought the Packers could have focused a lot more this offseason on getting better as opposed to trying to craft this proposal that I really don't like. And I don't know. I don't like it. And they suck at drafting third-round picks, so figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I don't think D was too thrilled. I can't remember, but I don't think he was too thrilled. Yeah, as someone who has Jalen Hurts in Dynasty, yeah, if the tush push is banned, like they'll still do quarterback sneaks. And the Packers figured it out. Like you guys just put your tight end and ran it. Like you used it.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. It's very hypocritical.
and Sean McDermott is the biggest. Like Sean, just because the Chiefs stopped it 3 times for you guys doesn't mean you should ban it for everyone else. Like that was a real bitch move from Sean McDermott. The Bills are the team.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true too. They use it so much. Honestly, and from the Packers' perspective, that's not even what killed them. Like they couldn't stop Barkley. Like that was a major problem. Like so, it didn't even matter.
It didn't even matter. It's all right. QB sneaks will still be powerful. Jalen's still powerful. It just kind of sucks. That's the only other thing is Jerry Jones, Eurostepping Micah's agent to try to get a deal done. Classic Jerry, hilarious. And I think the biggest news of the week is that now the NFL is moving, I believe, to the same technology that tennis uses to measure first downs to make sure that I think the UFL is using that technology now. And the NFL will implement it in the fall. That first downs will now be measured by chip, so it's more accurate. There will still be a chain gang as a backup, but the NFL is now using technology to determine if a first down was really, if someone really had a first down. It's about time.
And I guess for the chain gang as backup, like, are they still going to be on the sidelines doing every play? They're just not going to officially measure using that?
I think so. I think they're still going to be doing what they usually do.
So you get all this effort that they have to put in, and then like then no one actually cares what you're doing until we need it, or are they just they're waiting, and there's a chip malfunction. They can go back to the video. Okay, this is where the last snap, like this is where the last snap was. So this is where the last first down was gained. So put the chains there, and you can then retroactively measure, even if you're not actively measuring, you can still get accurate that way. It would just take some time, I think.
I think so, and I think one chip is in the football, and then the other chip is on the chain. So, like, I think the ball needs to cross that.
Yeah. Okay, so you still need the chain set up.
Yeah, I think that's how you would determine your first. And, like, the chips have to meet in order for you to determine if it was a first down.
I actually kind of like that, Bam. No more wiping your nose celebration.
Yeah, so can anyone give me context? You know, like, CeeDee Lamb does it. That's his celebration. Why is that now banned? Is there a reference in something that I don't get?
I think it's just visible, right? Like it's not a pleasant sight.
Who cares? It's a cool celebration. Like, is it a cocaine reference that I'm missing? Like, does a rapper do that?
Maybe, honestly, maybe that's what the NFL thinks.
Yeah,
even if it's not,
it looks like you're doing.
They think it might be. So,
if someone could tell me why that's banned, I for the life of me, unless they just hate CeeDee Lamb, which could be, he doesn't seem like a fun guy to be around, but that doesn't mean you should ban his celebration.
Yeah, I don't know. No fun league, I suppose.
Yeah, that's mad hate. I don't like it.
Does that have something to do with player safety? They'll probably chalk up. With player safety.
Yeah,
you can't question it.
Because that's what.
Because by doing that, you might elbow a player coming by unexpectedly. They might not see it coming, so it's a player safety issue.
But it's okay for 2 300-pound men to collide 60 times a game.
But they know it's coming, so it's not blindsided. Like, they'll make up something. Like, I'm just BSing right now, but they'll kind of try. They'll just throw that excuse on anything. Player safety. Can't question it, because if you're against player safety, if you're against this rule. What?
So Bam says he thinks it's like a cutthroat. He is nowhere near his throat. Like when CeeDee does it, he's clearly underneath the face mask. Like, it's not like, nah. If that's the reason it's banned, that is almost weaker than banning the tush push. Because that nobody. That's whack. I hate that. That pisses me off. All right, let's talk about what the people really want to talk about. They want to talk about fantasy. You are the fantasy expert. I take a lot of fantasy advice from you. There was a point when I would DM you trades to see if it was smart, and now we're in the same league, so I can't do that anymore because you'll have, like, a little inside knowledge. You made a trade with Jason. Let me see if I can find it. Or do you have the trade off the top of your head?
Well, yeah, I'm in the league right now, so I've got it here.
Okay, yeah.
Funny, because this was made like 2 days after you made your trade with Jason, but
yeah,
you also haven't been on the pod in 2 weeks, so no one's talked about it. But it's funny because something D said during the podcast really made me send this offer out that Jason accepted. It was something we were discussing this trade maybe about a month back, and then I was trying to do something very specific, and he wasn't quite so sure. And so I thought, okay, maybe closer to the NFL draft, or certainly closer to our rookie draft. That's where my picks value will be higher, and I can get this trade done. So we kind of tabled it for a bit. Then D mentioned on the episode 2 weeks ago, like, I think it was at the same time you got that offer for Joe Mixon. I believe Jason was also sending out offers to sell Aaron Jones.
Yep.
To get Aaron Jones. I think that was the conversation. one of the things Dee mentioned was a trade offer that involved Aaron Jones and then Xavier Worthy coming back. And I thought, oh no, Bam's actively shopping him, or not Bam. Jason's actively shopping him. I've got to, sorry, Bam. I just love talking to Bam, so I see him in the comments. So that kind of made me not panic, but okay, I'll go out and really send my best offer. I hadn't sent this exact offer out yet, so I decided to do it, and then sure enough, Jason decided to accept it. I think when we were talking, it was before that Xavier Worthy arrest situation, which seems like he's been cleared. So that also kind of gave me there's been a pause there, and I thought, okay, maybe I can get him cheaper. That's what I first thought, or I could actually get this trade done now. Like Bam, I keep saying it. Sorry, Bam. Jason would value him less. And so here is the trade. So we are a 10-team. This is where it gets complicated. We're a 1 QB league that is transitioning to Superflex next year.
Yep.
PPR. Now we are a tight end premium league as well.
Thank God.
Start 11, I believe. Now with deeper starting spots. Start 11 on offense. So on one side of the trade, we have the aforementioned Xavier Worthy and a 26 first in the rookie draft. On the other side, we have 4 picks: the 107, the 207, the 209, and a 26 second. I know when the trade went through, we got like some of the emojis in the league, and Ban gave the like wide-eyed like surprise look, like either surprised that trade got done or oh, what a big move. And then D had the thinking face. Commissioner always thinking, right?
Yeah, he's always a conspiracy theorist. Every trade that happens, it's some sort of conspiracy behind it.
Well, no, this is so I guess I haven't revealed my side yet to add drama. But what do you think of the trade? I get your reactions to this.
I think that the first round pick tied to Xavier Worthy made it a little bit more palatable. The 3 seconds, I thought, if you really want Xavier Worthy, I am okay with it, because I would not do that. But I don't want Xavier Worthy. But if you think Xavier Worthy is the missing piece, especially since we're going to all these flex spots, because I'm kind of in the same place right now, right? Like it sounds like we're going to move to extra roster spots. You're going to need more flex players. I don't hate it. I am cheap. I'll probably, if that Xavier Worthy in the 26 first, at 107 and probably a 26 second, maybe the 25 209, but I'm not mad at it. Like, I know D is what's going on here? I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, would love to actually get D's thoughts now that it's been a couple weeks and he's had all this time to think on it. Like, what did he think was going on? But
I would like to hear him too.
Yeah. So I think, like, again, based like if D wants to listen to this reference, like where this trade came from, this was really an attempt on my part. The reason I made this trade specifically Worthy and the 26 first is I wanted both. I wanted both aspects. I wanted an extra first next year. The first year we become a super flex league, thinking that those firsts will have higher value than this year's first. So just straight up, I was kind of planning to want to do that with the 107 was, can I push this 107 back to next year?
Right.
I think that'll give me better value. But then I also, with all the votes we've made, again, increasing the flex spots and still wanting to win now, can I also get a player? So can I do both? Can I turn my 107 into 2 things? A good player and a future first. So one of the things I went, and this was back even before I made the Derrick Henry trade. I think this was all part of the same process. It was the same thinking. Okay, who has first? And I looked at all the teams that still had their 26 first, which actually was basically everyone except Akili, because I had his already. And then, okay, what could I get from these people? Like, what can I get from each of these managers? What do I have to give up? And the Derrick Henry thing happened. Okay, I get Bam's first. And I was trying to, you know this, Danny, and I'm sure D probably knows this too. Everyone knows this. I was trying to get a 26 first for Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
No one wanted that. Like no one accepted that offer. So still have Pittman. So that was an attempt there. And then the next attempt was, okay, can I sell my first now? Like this 107. And actually, I think the Pittman thing is what started it. I think I sent out an offer to Jason that involved the 107 and Michael Pittman as a way to get Xavier Worthy and a 26 first. I think I also did a 2-3 swap. Like, I want your 27 second and I'll give you my my 27 third. I'll move up around in theory. And he wasn't really interested in that. And he mentioned he really wasn't interested in it. But the 107 kind of caught his attention, and we sent some offers back. He originally offered something like the 107 for Worthy, almost straight up, like I think 209 for a future second as well.
Okay.
I thought that was an interesting offer, but I could get that probably closer, if not on the closer to the draft, if not when the pick's on the clock. I could make something like that happen. So I kind of kept that in the back of my mind. Like if I really wanted to buy Xavier Worthy, I probably could, but I really wanted to get that 26 first. So a few weeks passed, and I finally, again, on the show, D mentioned that, Jason's might be selling Worthy, or he's at least there's offers out. So I thought, okay, I better send this out now. So here you go, Jason. Here's 3 second-round picks added to the 107 to get these 2 pieces. That was enough, I guess.
Yeah, because now he owns the entire second round. Like he owns he owns the second round. Let me see how many second round picks he has.
Well, I think now he has 4. But I think before again, and these 2 trades happened within like a 48, 72 hour period. Before he made the trades with you and I, he had the 201. That was like I think his only pick in the entire draft.
Yeah.
Now he has 5 top 19 picks, from the 107 to the 209.
Which is crazy because he doesn't have the roster spots. So like he's going to have to start purging real soon, or
I guess the advantage was he only got rid of 2 players, right? He got rid of Mixon, got rid of Worthy, so that opened up 2 spots. But he might again still need to open up more. But I guess the only thing it really cost him outside of that was the future first that I got.
I'm interested to see. Yeah, so he has 3 roster spots, so he doesn't have as much work as I thought he did.
Maybe 2 more players he'd have to remove.
Yeah, he needs to go to 2.
Back end looks like, and still make trades, right? Like, could you sell players for future picks? Kind of like he did with the Joe Mixon trade. Is he going to continue to look for trades like that?
Yeah,
sell those 2. You fill up those 2 extra roster spots, or open them up by making trades like that. I know for myself, the big motivation is AK Worthy. I think he helps me win. I've really liked him as a prospect. I love his landing spot on the Chiefs and how he finished the season and how he did in the playoffs. That gives me confidence to think he might be the number 1 receiver there over Rashee Rice. I think for now, I want to bet on him because he's not coming off the knee injury. I think he's going to do better than Rice this year just because of the health. 2026, I think, will give us the real barometer on who's the true number 1 there, because Rice might take that year to get up to steam, but when he comes back healthy, they might want to utilize him very heavily like they did. We saw at the beginning of last year. So there's risk there that maybe Worthy isn't the wide receiver 1, but I also looked, Danny, and on the trade block, like outside of quarterbacks, I thought the best player available in the trade block was Xavier Worthy. So that was why I think would really pique my interest initially to Jason to get that Pittman for Worthy trade. Like, okay, who can I get a first from, and then like what's the best player I can get attached to that first? And the answer to me was Jason. Can I get his first and Worthy? And so I kind of centered the last month or so, figured out how to make it happen. And I guess this was how it made it happen, but I now have 4 firsts next year. So for almost half of the first round in 2026. And that's really appealing to me.
Yeah. You want to give one of those first for Tony Pollard or James Conner?
No. I think, especially not right now. Like to me, I want them to accrue to their value of what it's going to look like next year. So I envision continuing to hold these 4 picks for a whole nother year. And then next year is when as that draft is approaching, as the magnitude of the super flex is upon people, that's when I'm going to, frankly, Danny, be willing to offer. Maybe I'll trade all 4 of those first. I might not make a single one of those picks, but I want the flexibility now to be that team that, frankly, based on how you and other teams are holding on to your 26 first, if anyone else wants to buy an extra one, seems like it's going to be tough to do. I'm probably the one I've got so many, like I'm going to be the one that's going to be willing to sell it for the prices people want. And so, or maybe I combine and go after elite assets. I'll overpower someone by offering all 4 first in one trade. Maybe I get all the best players I want. So I've kind of got that flexibility to do that next year. I've got a few things I could maybe sell in the meantime, but we'll see. I came close last year. Well, I came close to a first round buy. That would have been nice, but would love to, maybe compete, but maybe I also do need to add to this team before I can truly compete for the title. So we'll see how it goes, but and to Bam's point, Worthy scares him. He certainly is a risk. So we'll see. But he's a risk I'm willing to buy into, and certainly get with the first attached. I thought it was pretty easy on my side, the motivation to want to make this trade.
Well, now that you explain it, like now, like you said, like next year as we go to a super flex league, like you own half the first round. Like that value in and of itself. Like when you hear that, like hearing your line of thinking, like yo, I own the first round next year. Like if you want an extra first round pick, or if you want to pick, you want to get your pick back, you got to come to me. Like that's some Howie Roseman shit. Like I get it. Like you could go in theory and go get Justin Jefferson. Like if Jason has a down year and he's like, man, I really need to sell, or if Akili would be open to trading Jamar Chase because he needs help. Like you have the ammo to go get whatever you want.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely stay tuned for next year to see how I manage those first. And heck, maybe Pittman does well enough I can sell him for a first at some point in the future.
Would
Probably not. That's been.
Would you sell AJ Brown for a first?
Probably not just straight up. I think I need a little more than that. Oh, yeah, you've been asking about Brown, but I'm hesitant to move him.
And I don't have anything. Like I could give you 102 in Devontae Smith.
What's there? I know Keely had mentioned that too. That Smith's probably the guy I'd want back from this trade. I wouldn't want to give you the double stack. I was thinking, man, can I get Jalen Hurts off him and give him Brown and Smith? But I feel like you wouldn't go for that.
Yeah. So like I've told D, like I really wasn't that confident in my running back room, and Jalen Hurts kind of helps mask that my running back room was kind of old and weak. Like Montgomery would give you a couple of games. James Conner was it. But like Jalen kind of like covers the gap with the touch push and then, the 2 1-yard touchdowns every week. So like that was
fantasy. That's amazing. I love him.
Yes, that was mine. Awesome. But now I have Joe Mixon. I wouldn't trade Jalen, but I do need some help. Like my roster still, there's so much work to be done. I don't think
Devontae in 102 is interesting, but I don't want to commit to that right now. That's after the NFL draft. I think we could maybe talk about that.
Okay, yeah, because like I need an elite pass catcher and I need an elite running back. Like I have a lot of.
I would also like an elite pass catcher, so I don't want to move AJ Brown.
Like hopefully Marvin Harrison. I'm kind of. It's funny because when I drafted him, D texted me. He's like, "Yo, you're going to regret that." Like Malik Neighbors is like that. Thank you. And I was like, "I'll be quiet, man." But
I thought they were both outstanding prospects, so I didn't think you could go wrong with either. But it went really right for Neighbors in year one. That's
which is scary because he didn't have a court. Like who did he have throwing to him?
Daniel Jones most of the season. That was the best quality quarterback play he got. So
exactly, like Kyler Murray isn't elite, but Kyler Murray is better than Daniel Jones, and he still couldn't click with Marvin Harrison. But you have Trey McBride though, so
man, what a waiver wire pickup in that league. I've got to say, like I've made some of my best players on my team are waiver pickups. Baker Mayfield, Kyron Williams, Trey McBride. Like I just put waiver claims. Juwan Jennings, who I think will repeat and have a great season this year.
I had
guys I picked up off waivers, so it's also key in this league because it's a little shallower. You do have to really pay attention to the waivers, and I left some fab money on the table last year, so I'm gonna even put myself to be more aggressive this year on fab spending.
Yeah,
I got through last year pretty well. Like I was spending often, and I never even came close to running out, so I could maybe be more aggressive.
Yeah, we can. I forgot we can use it in trades too. Kind of help sweeten the deal.
That's true. Yeah.
For sure. Question for you, fantasy wise: Christian Watson is going to be out all next year, right? Like he tore his ACL towards the end of the year.
Oh yeah, I mean, officially he did it against the Bears just before playing the Eagles in the playoffs. It was week 18. So I think it's reasonable to expect that he doesn't play. Doesn't mean he won't play. We've seen players come back a little earlier than expected timelines. Some players are back from an ACL tear; they're playing 9 months later, so that would put him on pace to be playing in the season. But I know I'm coming to like fantasy analysis, I'm really not counting on Watson. I haven't really done my projections yet for target share or touchdowns, but I'm probably not going to include him in projections.
That's fair. To the bench you go, Christian. I still regret trading for Cortland Sutton too late. I was a couple of weeks behind. It's okay.
Yeah, I made a Cortland Sutton trade last year. Stephon Diggs injury really solidified that, and it's a salary cap contract league, and because rookie draft picks are so valuable because the rookies you get, but you get rookie contracts out of them, so they're super cheap, not counting much on the cap. It's just like in the NFL, so it's a league where I almost value those picks even higher. And I gave up my first and Stephon Diggs for Cortland Sutton and the rebuilding team second that I traded him to. And we're a 10-team league, and I finished third. So 108 turned into 202. So it was a 4-pick difference.
Yeah.
And Sutton's salary is, I think, about 13 million less than Stephon Diggs. So it helped me last year compete after Diggs got injured, but then it also helps me this year because Sutton doesn't cost as much. So I was lucky to be aggressive on Sutton when he started getting really hot, and I was willing to give up a first to make it happen. Knowing that, okay, that early second, it was, his team seemed pretty locked in to be an early second, so I thought I was pretty confident there. And, so sometimes you just got to be aggressive on these moves and the players that they're starting to trend right. Sometimes it can be a fluke, but sometimes it can continue. So you just have to take each situation as is and take the risk either way.
I like that. That's a good point. I had a question. So the salary. So you're in the salary cap league. I am not familiar with the salary cap league. So is it the same salary cap as the NFL, or is it like a set salary cap?
No, it totally isn't. In Reality Sports Online, it is. I've played in some other salary cap contract formats where they set their own salary cap, and it's maybe increments of $1 on Reality Sports Online, which is where I play, and where I'm starting a new league, and D actually is going to be a manager joining. So I'm sure he'll discuss it once that league gets going. Post NFL draft, we'll have that startup auction, and I'm sure he'll have lots to say about it. But yeah, in that particular format, the salary cap follows whatever the NFL salary cap is, and contracts, I think, are $500,000.
Okay. Oh, I'm sure.
Just to give reference, when a $13 million difference is significant enough, like the minimum is $500,000.
He's going to be in here cussing somebody out 1 week because he's angry. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else on the fantasy front?
No, that's pretty much all for me. Kudos to Jason for now getting all these draft picks. It definitely tailored the offer to him. I figured he's the guy I could turn 4 picks into the one pick I really wanted and the player I wanted. So.
Well, it worked. That was hell no, absolutely not. Tell him no, Kyle.
Well, we're 10 teams now, so we've got everyone filled in. So.
Shoot, too bad, Bam. Maybe next time.
It was tough to get to 10. It really feels like it's tough to get to 12. So I'm really hesitant to add anyone else. I suppose, Bam, if someone else comes along and if I can easily get to 12, I will keep that in the back of my mind and reach out to you.
That sounds hard.
Because there is, in theory, still time to get to a 12 team. It was a struggle just to get to 10. Not gonna lie. I started this process in right after the Super Bowl. I think the day after the Super Bowl, started reaching out to people, and it took. We still have 2 people that haven't officially paid the site fee yet.
Okay, so what's the
buy-in? So if they take so long, I might ask you, Ben.
What's the buy-in?
So you have to pay. We have to pay it's a $15 site fee.
Okay.
And then I think we've talked about doing between a $30 to $50 buy-in through League Safe. That would be the site fee just goes to the website. That's stuff we can win back. We could put an extra $30 to $50 on top as a league pot where the winners get paid out.
So anywhere between 65 would be the max.
Yeah, for sure in terms of total spending. Yeah.
Okay. Bam. Danny does not want in. I spend enough money on things that I don't need. I don't need to spend money on another fantasy league, as tempting as it may sound. But it sounds like the fact that you're like a legit GM, that sounds very appealing.
And I got to say, if you've never done an auction draft before, I think that's my favorite way to draft. Snake drafts, it can be fun, especially in slower drafts. Redraft, I like it. But from now on, I'm kind of overdoing the snake drafts for a dynasty startup. 2 years since my last one. March 2023 was the last Dynasty League I joined where we did a snake draft startup. And even then, I joined that league and there was talk that might be an auction draft. So that was even almost by accident. I was still even planning for that to be an auction. So I haven't really I guess 2022, the off season I joined where we started up all money in. I think I ended up joining 3 new leagues that I'm still in some of those today. And those were the last year. That was the last year I really was heavy into the snake drafting for Dynasty. I really love auction drafting, and that's my favorite part of the salary cap contract format is you get auctions every year because there's always players that are not under contract. The format will put limits in the auction. You can only offer 1 4-year contract, for instance, 2 3-year contracts. So you can't just, I mean, you could. I mean, like the commissioner could totally change the settings if you want. Okay, everyone can offer as many 4-year contracts as you want. Like it was long term, but the parameters, I do like having those parameters because it keeps every year interesting. There will always be good players that make it to the auction off people's teams. There's always going to be free agents that kind of come out of nowhere. There's always going to be players not under contract that make it so that the auction each year is really interesting. So that's because I've played in a dynasty league where you do an auction draft at the startup, but as soon as it's done, it's just a normal dynasty league, which is fine. I love playing dynasty, but the continuously doing auction drafts every year is a super fun aspect to the salary cap contract.
Huh. That's interesting. Is there a website where you can do mock auction?
Reality Sports Online will let you do mocks to test their platform and stuff.
What's it called? Reality Sports Online?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Bam, we might be able to convince Danny. Maybe we get to 12 tonight then.
Well, let me do a few mocks to see how to get a rhythm. But that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is super fun. I know Keely swears to it too. It's for him and I. It's our favorite format of playing fantasy football.
Where is Keely? I thought he'd be here tonight.
Yeah, I texted him too, but no answer.
Boo. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Bam. Anyone who's listening, James Conner and Tony Pollard are still for sale. If anyone's interested, I'm not asking for the farm. It would just be a nice depth piece for anyone who's looking for a pseudo premier running back. Let's jump into hoops real quick. I don't want to spend too much time here because I really want to hear your Ovechkin and I really want to hear about the curling. Mike Malone, I think the biggest news is Mike Malone got fired today.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
I can't remember which team that was either.
I think you're still on mute. I can't.
Uh-oh. How about now? Can you hear me now?
You're still. Can anyone hear Kyle or is it just me? Bam. Can you hear Kyle?
Hello, Bam. Please tell me you can hear me because change.
Oh, I didn't ruin anything. I always ruin something every week. I fuck something up here.
You haven't really noticed it that much.
Yeah, like what? Okay, now it says you're unmuted. So Bam says you can. So I can't hear. What?
Maybe your headphones switched. Like something else. I guess I don't know if I'm talking. I'm able to hear. I guess we'll do the private chat.
So it's just me. Okay. Cal, you keep going. I will figure this out. Mike Malone was fired and go.
Oh, well, I don't really watch much NBA, to be honest. I'm more of a playoff NBA watcher. But I think Denver, right? Like, this is, they look to be a playoff team. I'm looking at the standings, and a lot of teams in the West haven't clinched, but I think they haven't clinched not being in the play-in round, and that seems like that's an intense standings kind of chase there. I guess to go back to hockey, the New Jersey Devils did this one year where they were a playoff team and they looked good, but then they went on this bad losing streak towards the end of the season, and they fired the coach to go with it wasn't quite this drastic, but maybe with 10 games left. And they brought in Larry Robinson, former Hall of Fame defenseman, and they went and they won the cup that year. So, to me, this says they just don't think their coaching staff could win in the playoffs, and they think there's a better option to help them win in the playoffs. If that makes sense for everyone. I hope it made sense for Danny, but it probably didn't because he didn't hear any of it. So Danny says he's going to jump out and come back in, which means I'm now fully in charge of the show. There's nothing he can do about it. Ha ha ha. How's everyone doing? We can talk about anything. We can speak on anything, folks. But yeah, yeah. Sucks that this happened during the basketball section because I was mostly going to default to Danny during most of this time. But the NBA hates Ja Morant. Yeah, I mean the suspension, right? Like he got, or they fined him or they suspended him. I can't remember. I thought I heard about that too, man. Yeah, so he's still on the Memphis Grizzlies. Man, I'm still out of touch. I don't know who's on which team anymore, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still on Memphis. And again, that's such an interesting race to, really wanting to avoid being that 7 or 8 seed. How's it going, Danny? Can you hear me? How about now? Can you hear me now, Danny? I don't know if that helped at all.
This is so annoying. I don't know what's going, Cal. I don't think it's you. I think it's definitely me.
All right, so yeah, so NBA again, the standings in the West is pretty crazy. How everything's so condensed. Like the Lakers were like 2 games up on the 8th seed, even though they're the 3 seed. So yeah, race to not finish in the in that play-in round because it seems like you're going to face good teams, like whether it's Dallas, Sacramento, maybe Phoenix sneaks in there. Like it doesn't, risk of being eliminated if you're a 7 seed and not even getting to the first round. So definitely want to yeah. Okay, well, I guess Bam by popular demand or just Bam telling me, which is I guess the popular opinion right now. No one else can combat it. Yeah, Alex Ovechkin. The people call him the Great 8. He was doing the Great Chase, the Great Goal Chase. So Alex Ovechkin, an NHL player who was drafted back in 2004. So that 2005-2006 season, right after the lockout, was his rookie year. And since he's joined the league, he's just been a tremendous goal scorer. And that really cemented and solidified his status as arguably the greatest goal scorer in NHL history by breaking one of Wayne Gretzky's records. Gretzky's production was just incredible. It was insane. Wayne Gretzky could just, especially from an assist standpoint as a passer, the points accumulation is so wild that most of his records will probably never be caught. Even the goal record, 894, was thought to be something that no one would really ever be able to catch. The excellence in goal scoring, but also longevity to be able to pull something like that off, very difficult. And yet Alex Ovechkin did it, and this past weekend scored goal number 895, so broke the all-time goal scoring record. And just I guess for reference sake on how, especially in the 80s, it was really I don't want to say easy, but goal scoring was up to a point where, so here's one record, for instance, that Gretzky's that probably will never be passed. Gretzky still has the single season goal record, where in the 1981-82 season, he ended up scoring 92 goals. The closest Ovechkin ever got to that was 65, and that was the 2007-2008 season. I believe it was his 3rd year in the league. Won the Hart Trophy as the MVP, and just one of the most incredible goal scoring performances we've seen. A big difference, though, in those 2 eras, 82 to 2008, the average goals per game in the league were drastically different. In 1982, goal scoring was at almost an all-time high, 4.01 goals per game. It's the 6th highest mark in NHL history. And the NHL is actually even older than the NFL. Their first season was in 1917. And so that again, just over 4 goals per game mark in 82 is the 6th highest in league history, and it's the highest since the 1943-44 season. So 92 goals is insane, as Bam says in the comments. Yeah, it's again, I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to catch that. But also because goal scoring still has never been as high as it was that year. And yeah, I'm gonna try to type to Danny one more thing. I'm really bad at multitasking. So Danny, yeah, if you gotta shut down and restart, I can try and maintain the show while you're gone. But yeah, anyway, all to say, yeah. So that mark of Ovechkin or of Gretzky of 92 in one season, yes, it's insane, Bam. But like it happened during an era when goal scoring was just so high, and again, we haven't seen anything since that season. For reference sake, when Ovi had 65 goals in 2008, goal scoring was down to 2.72 goals per game. So pretty drastic difference. And I've actually got this really cool article that I wrote for Full Press coverage, Full Press Hockey. It's called EAGER. It's a metric I invented, and it stands for Era Adjusted Goals Per Game Rate. Basically, what I look at, I look at every season of a player's career and look at during those corresponding seasons they played, what was the NHL average for goals per game? And then what was the player's goal per game rate during that season? How many goals they scored divided by the number of games they played. And then I divide that by, again, the goals per game total. And I get a percentage. It'll be a fraction of a number. And what I do is I give that player what I call an eager percentage for each season. This is the percentage of the goals per game that they match based on their era. So, for instance, by doing that with these 2 seasons, with Gretzky and Ovechkin, the eager seasons actually end up being really close. A 92 goal season with a 4.01 goals per game average for the entire league gives an eager percentage of 28.7%. For Ovi, that's 65 in an era of 2.72 goals per game. That eager percentage is 28.4. So it almost levels them out to be equal. And that's now what Ovi has done is just incredible, because even in an era where goal scoring hasn't been that high, he's managed to break an all-time goal scoring record. And he's done that by just consistently putting up great goal scoring seasons. He's played 20 years in the NHL, and I believe 17 of those 20, he scored 40 goals. So he's just, because at some point late in his career, Gretzky did tail off and the goal scoring wasn't coming so easily. Ovechkin had 40 goals this year as I think a 39 or a 40-year-old in his 20th season. I think he's already up to 42 goals this season. I believe I'm pretty sure he's top 5 in the league. And he missed he missed about a month and a half. And he's still just scoring goals at this wild, ridiculous rate. The fact that he's been able to do it. I mean, he came in the league in his rookie year. He had a 40 goal season. Or actually, he might have had. I think he had a 50 goal season as a rookie. And so, since his rookie year to now, he hasn't stopped scoring goals. He's actually currently 4th in the league in goal scoring, 42. And if you look at his games played, he's only played 61. The league leader, Leon Draisaitl, has played 71 games, and he has 52 goals. So it's a pretty close rate to that. You have to go down pretty far to find someone on the leaderboard that's only played 61 games. In fact, it's Jack Hughes. great centerman for the New Jersey Devils, one of their best players. He has 27 goals in 62 games. He's out for the year, so that 62 is staying there. Incredible season to start, and yet Ovechkin, he's 15 goals higher than that in the same number of games played. So it's just ridiculous, wild. Danny's back. I'm assuming he still can't hear me.
I can hear you. Thank you for holding it down. I have never experienced that in my life.
Wait, I can't hear Danny anymore.
Oh, God.
No, I can. That was my fault.
Oh, okay. I was like, I give up. I've never in my life.
That happened when I was messing around with settings. I had my headphones set to wrong. So now I can hear you. You can hear me.
I have never. Kyle, thank you so much. You are a true professional, because I have never in my life experienced anything like what just happened. Like, I had to restart my whole computer, and now it just magically works.
All right. Well, I guess, again, the magic of Ovechkin to break this goal scoring record by Gretzky. Basically, what I've been kind of rambling on is this thing I invented, Danny. It's called EAGER. It's a metric I invented. Era adjusted goals per game rate. And basically what I do is, as I mentioned, like a big disparity in goals per game. Like I think you referenced the 92 goals Gretzky scored. Still a single season record. Goals per game that year were 4.01. It's the sixth highest rate in league history, and it's the highest it's been since 1944. So this almost anomaly of a year where goals were just insane. And Gretzky took full advantage by scoring 92 of them, but the whole league was scoring a lot. I guess I'll credit better goaltending that would come later in the 80s, innovations in technique, namely Patrick Roy coming in, innovating the butterfly style and goaltending equipment getting bigger, as two things that really made the dead puck era in the 90s, an era when goal scoring really started to go down. And frankly, we've never seen it go back to the rate of the early 80s. In the last few years, we've seen it kind of go up above 3 goals per game. But Ovechkin's best single season, 2007-2008, he had 65 goals. With goals per game through the league, so the average goals in a game between both teams scoring was 2.72. Now, and again, the last maybe 5-6 years, we've seen it go above 3. But there's definitely that era starting the very late 90s and through the first decade of the 2000s where goals per game were below 3. Ovechkin started in 2005, 2006. So a few of those years were in that still the tail end of the dead puck era where things really started to go up. And yeah, through all that, Ovechkin still has the all-time goal record, which I was talking about was just a crazy testament to him as a goal scorer. One of the things I do with each season is I create this EAGER metric, which takes account a player's goal per game, their goal per game stat for each given season, but then also divided by the goals per game average of the league that year. So I track every player, every season of every player's career. I find out what those goals per game were, and I kind of give it a percentage number. And that 92 goal season for Gretzky in a 4.01 goals per game era, that EAGER percent is 28.7. So it's still incredible. I mean, the truly elite seasons are above 30, and there's so few of those, but they happen. Ovechkin, it was a 28.4%. So 28.7, 28.4 is pretty close to show that 92 goals in a 4.01% goal era is pretty similar to 65 in a 2.72. So that kind of gives a reference to, if you adjust for era, how it's not surprising that Ovi has broken the all-time record, because he's scoring at Gretzky's pace and he's just continued to do it. Looking at Gretzky, the end of his career, his EAGER percentages went down into the low teens for most of his last few years of his career in the 90s. I mean, Ovi, I think his lowest, he has a couple seasons of like below 15, like a 14 and a 12 season. I haven't tracked it for this year yet because it's not done, but he has 42 goals in 61 games as a 39-year-old in his 20th season in the league. And he broke his leg, or he had a fracture in his leg. He missed like 5-6 weeks. He's still 4th in the whole league in goals.
That's
and he's
insane.
He's been chasing this goal record like crazy. And one of the things that hasn't come at the detriment of the team, because the Washington Capitals, I mean, they just snuck into the playoffs last year. Like, they were 8th place in the East, Danny. They made the playoffs on a tiebreaker with still a pretty low point total. And they just snuck into the playoffs. I think they got swept in the first round. Like, it almost looked like they were a total afterthought. This year, everything changed. They're first place in the East. They still haven't officially clinched their division, but at 107 points, they're second in the entire league. 49 wins, 19 losses, and 9 overtime losses, which you get 2 points for win, 1 point for the overtime losses. So a tremendous record. So the team isn't just giving Ovi every chance they can get. Like this is happening very naturally. He's scoring a lot on the power play, but that's his thing. Like even this record goal happened on the power play. It was the first penalty the Islanders took all game. They were great in the first period, didn't take a single penalty. They take one penalty. The play goes out of the zone. The Washington makes a really good zone entry. Just takes that little bit of space created for Ovechkin, a great pass across the ice for him. Just slaps it home for a goal. Like, well, that easy, eh? First power play chance, he got it. But they're also not forcing it. Like, they're giving him the puck in good areas. They've had other players on the team score goals too, and they're winning. And they're winning a lot more than they have been the last few seasons. They won the Cup in 2008. Or 2018.
Oh, that's
but it's
tough.
Yeah, that was so fairly recently. It took Ovechkin a while before they got there and really won the Cup. They kept losing to Crosby all those years, and watching him win a bunch of Stanley Cups. They finally got there in 2018. And since then, the team hasn't quite been at that same level. Like, it took everything they could to get that Cup win in 2018, and they haven't really done much since. They've missed the playoffs some years. They make the playoffs most years, but again, like last year, just sneak into the playoffs just to lose in the first round. Feels like this team is taking a lot of motivation from him chasing his goal scoring record, but also not wanting to have last year go like that does. Like, we're going to make the playoffs. We're going to make noise in the playoffs. So it's remarkable to see that he's still scoring 40 goals this late in his career, and he's not limping into the record. Like, he's beating it with style. And with a few games to go this year, and even like when he broke his leg, people thought, "Oh, are we not going to see the record broke this year?" And he motivated him to not let that stop him, it seemed. But it's also the team is thriving, so it's good to see that he's not being selfish about it. Like, this is helping the team win, and the team is winning because of this. So it's remarkable to see that he could perform so great so late in his career and help the team win.
Are they the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup?
I don't think so. I think some teams in the West, I think everyone looks at like the Dallas Stars, who've gone on deep runs the last couple of years, Vegas, who won the Cup a couple of years ago, Florida, the defending champs. I still think even if their points, because I think Washington has more points than all those teams, their recent playoff track record kind of puts those teams, I think, more as favorites, which means even though Washington has a great season, they're also coming in with not a lot of pressure. I don't think anyone's truly expecting them to go on a big run in spite of the record. So they could come in and still almost play the underdog in spite of most teams that are like a 1 seed. Oh, no one believed in us.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the odds favorites, actually, a lot of people believed in you. But this might be one team that could play that as a 1 seed.
Okay.
Not since the 2007 Eagles. 2017 Eagles, right? That was the last team that could really, like, no one believed in us. We were a 1 seed. Well, yeah, no one actually did believe in them as a 1 seed.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw the goal on Twitter. 39. Like, just the power he can generate. I wish I could.
If he wanted to play football, he could have been a football player.
Yes, he could have. 100%.
Pretty big and sturdy. He's 6'2", 6'3", but like 245, 230, 235, 245, something like that. Usually hockey players try to be closer to 200 because of their speed. He's a pretty good skater, but he's so strong. I was listening to a podcast the other day and said he's like 3rd all-time in hits. So he's scoring a ton of goals, but he's also being very physical. Early in his career, maybe he wasn't the best defensive player. Even if he accumulated a lot of the hits, he loved to hit people. He's gotten to be a better, well-rounded player. And yeah, he's not scoring 65 goals in a year anymore, but again, 42 goals this late in your career is certainly I think he's the greatest goal scorer of all time. And I thought so before he broke this record based on the career eager. So one of the things I talk about having an eager percentage for each player's season of their career, what I do is I then take the average of all those percentages and I give them a career average eager. And 3 of the players, we'll say the modern NHL players since the original 6 in the early 40s, there's 3 guys that got over 20% for their career average. And Ovechkin is one of them. Mario Lemieux and Mike Bossy are the other 2. And the reason that they didn't hit Gretzky's marks is they dealt with a lot of injuries. Actually, Bossy really didn't deal with that many injuries, but he got a bad one that ended his career.
Okay.
And like, it was still young enough that he could have accumulated more seasons and got higher up there. Bossy had, I think, he had a 50-goal season every year of his career. He only played 10 seasons, though. And 9 of the first 10, he got 50 goals. And that 10th, he didn't because he got hurt with like 40-something goal season. And then that ended his career and season. So that's the only reason he didn't reach it that year, too. But just from the get-go, an elite goal scorer his whole career. As a rookie, he got 50 goals. And his last year in the league, he was on that 50-goal pace. And Mario Lemieux, one of the most physically dominant players, a lot like Ovechkin, probably an even better skater. Truly one of the greatest players of all time. And in spite of all his injuries, I think Mario is still a top 10 all-time in points. Ovi is, I think he's in the top 15, which for as many goals as he had, it's kind of crazy he's not higher on the points list, which I still think, his rookie season was the same season as Sidney Crosby, and I think both of those players get compared a lot. I think undoubtedly Ovi is the better goal scorer, but I think everyone would agree that Sidney Crosby is the better overall hockey player. So while Ovi has this goal scoring record, wouldn't call to say him anything more than the best goal scorer ever. I think that he's cemented himself as, but in terms of greatest players ever, he's up there, but he's not in the true elite tiers where we're going to say like he's a first pairing player. You might just, if we're making an all-star team, you might want him on the first pair because he's the greatest goal scorer. You get different skill sets.
Okay, I got you.
But if you were just to say, not team building, just say who are the greatest players of all time, he might not be in those first couple of lines.
So how many Stanley Cups does Sidney Crosby have?
He has 3.
Okay.
1 in 2009 and then back-to-back 16, 17.
Okay. Who has the most all time? Like who's the Bill Russell?
So it's Maurice Richard?
Yeah. Heard the name.
So the Rocket? Well, there's the Pocket Rocket, which is what they called him. It was Maurice's little brother, Henri Richard. He is the most Stanley Cups by a player. Was on a lot of those same teams as Maurice Richard, but he also played long enough that he got to some of the later Jean Beliveau era. So he got a bit of the 40s Montreal Cup winning teams, and then also into the 60s. And the only 5-peat in NHL history is the Canadiens from, I think it's 56 through 1960.
That's insane.
Henri Richard was part of that 5-peat as well as other Cup wins around that time. So he is the most as a player. Toe Blake was a coach and a player for the Canadiens. I think he has 17 combined. I think he was the coach for that 5-peat, but then he was also playing in the 30s and 40s. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. He's kind of nuts. I'll look it up to verify for sure, but I'm almost positive it's him.
17 of those things?
Yeah. That's how much. I mean, the Montreal Canadiens have 24 Stanley Cups. That almost doubles up anyone else. The Toronto Maple Leafs are next with 23.
Wow. I do enjoy because the playoffs start in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're maybe about a week and a half away.
Yeah. So there's one thing I do same with the baseball, right? I'm not a big regular season baseball guy, but playoff hockey, playoff baseball. For some reason, I don't know what. Maybe it's the atmosphere. I'll watch playoff hockey all day.
Oh my god, it's so exciting! The speed the players are playing at, it's nuts. It's the physicality of football, but at a totally different speed level on ice. It's more artistic, right? Because you're on ice, you're on skates. It's just something a little bit more majestic about it. Yeah, I'm looking up this cup win. Which person has the most? I'm gonna try and figure that out because it's not Toe Blake. I looked it up. It actually isn't him.
Okay.
But I know for a player for a fact that it is Henri Richard. So he would be your Bill Russell equivalent. But I think unlike Bill Russell, though, he was never the most important dominant player on the team. He happened to play for the Habs. Still an important player, but he wasn't the top line forward like his brother Maurice was. Again, Jean Beliveau kind of took over and become that best player. And then you had the Guy Lafleur era into the 70s. He was never quite that, but he had a long career and was able to.
Sounds like Robert Horry.
Okay, I don't even know who that is, so you can.
Okay, yeah, Robert Horry played for the Rockets. He played for the Lakers. I think he has 6 or 7 rings himself. Integral player, but he wasn't like Kobe. He wasn't Hakeem.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm just finding the players one, but yeah, it's Henri Deschamps with 11 cups, and then Jean Béliveau has 10.
Okay. So Bam, Cal, I'm sure you've been to a hockey game before. Bam says it might be the best spectator sport. I've never been, so there's no where I'm at in the U.S. The closest hockey team is Ovechkin in D.C.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably.
Yeah, that's
Between that or the Flyers, I suppose, in Philly. They would be the
I
two
wouldn't
closest
mind
in theory.
Flyers game. That's actually not. But they're terrible this year. No, they're okay this year, right?
No, they've already been eliminated from the playoffs. So.
But they have a rookie, right? I've heard about this rookie.
Yes, Matvei Michkov. So
Yes.
he was drafted a couple years ago, same year as Connor Bedard went to the Blackhawks. I think there was a lot of hype around him as being one of the best prospects we've ever seen.
Okay.
And Michkov was under contract on a Russian team, and so like the KHL, which is the Continental Hockey League, they've got pretty big restrictions. Like they're not necessarily going to let their players leave just to go to the NHL. Like they do really view it as a competing league. So like you've usually got to finish out your contract, or the NHL team has to dish out a lot of money to buy them out of the contract.
Oh, that's interesting. So how are they entering the draft then, or does the NHL not care?
Well, that's the thing. The NHL doesn't care, and each team has to make that decision. So as a result of that, Michkov actually fell to 7 to the Flyers, and there was a lot of teams that passed on him because it seemed like there was a lot of talk that he was under a big contract with the KHL team, and they weren't going to let him out early. Like you're going to have to wait until 2027 before you see him, and some teams were just not willing to have to wait that long. Flyers thought they could, and turns out they just had to wait 1 year, and he played this year. So I mean that's means the owner paid the big buyout fee, of course.
Yeah. Wow.
But,
I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. Kyle, you might make me a disciple. Like I might go by check out the Flyers suck. But
the Capitals, here's the thing. Be a Capitals fan, because once Ovi retires, which I mean, now that he's broken the record, there's nothing ruled out to say he's not going to retire after this year. Like he might come back and want to go for more, but he also might just say that's enough. So be an Ovi fan and a Washington fan this year and see if they can go on a cup run, and then maybe the Flyers could. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know about the NBA lottery. Like, do they actually show live like the balls falling out of the machine or however they decide? Because they don't in the NHL. Like they just reveal it live, but you don't actually see the thing. So there's been a lot of talk of is it rigged or not. So like Bam's conspiracy theory hat, like there's merit to it because the NHL isn't transparent enough in actually showing it happen. Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm a Red Wings fan too, so I can definitely get the insider rant here on Bam's idea. But it's funny because the Detroit Red Wings lottery luck almost seems like it's losing the lottery. So the COVID-shortened 2019-2020 season, they changed the lottery rules because they didn't complete the season. You know, they would order the teams based on lottery order, but usually there's restrictions. It's not like the NBA, which, as far as I understand, the NBA it's straight lottery. Like whoever gets picked as the first pick, that's the first team. In the NHL, there's restrictions on how much you can move up. So even if you win the lottery, you might not pick first if you were so far back.
Yeah, so for the NBA, it's the teams with the worst records get more ping pong balls. So the ping pong balls, so you get more. You have more odds of getting the number one overall pick, but that doesn't mean you will, right? So the Spurs aren't going to make the playoffs, but I think like the Jazz will have the most ping pong balls, and then like whoever loses the play-in will have the least. But
they could fall, right? Like it just the odds favor them to not, but if they like bad luck, they could fall. Is there certain restrictions on how far they can fall?
I think so. I know it's changed recently. I think whoever has the most ping pong balls, the lowest they can pick is like 5th or something. I'd have to do a little bit digging. There's some restrictions.
That's pretty extreme even for the NHL, because the NHL it's like you could move down I think 2 spots most. So if you got the worst team, the most you're picking is 3rd. It might even only be 1 spot.
Okay.
I think, and it was super restrictive. Like it used to only be like you could only move up like 2 spots. So like now they've made the lottery movement a little more. It might be move up 5 spots, but I think you might only be able to move down 2. But that COVID shortened year, they changed the lottery rules because the season was incomplete. They said they were just the teams would be favored and it would be a straight lottery. So whoever got the first pick would get the first pick, even if the old rules meant they wouldn't be able to move up that far. It doesn't matter. Like this is like so. The Red Wings had like almost a historically bad year that year. Should have like been a lock locked in first overall pick, and Alexis Lafreniere looked to be like that player that everyone was going to take. They fell to 4, and again, like in normal rules, they shouldn't have fallen further than second. So they lose Alexis Lafreniere, they lose Quentin Byfield, who I'm pretty sure is the highest drafted black player in NHL history, second overall to Los Angeles Kings. He actually played here in Sudbury in his junior career, so shout out to Quentin Byfield. Ottawa got Tim Stützle from Germany, and those were viewed as like the 3 best prospects, and then number 4 was where the tier broke off. So the Red Wings got screwed out of that top 3, but they picked Lucas Raymond, and I think I'd probably take Lucas Raymond over all the other 3. Like so far, like he has transformed that team. He's become their best player. Career high in points this year. Another, I think he's on a point per game pace. So showing that they made the right choice there. And if you had to redraft that draft, he might be the first overall pick.
Wow. Okay.
So that's all to say. That's the Red Wings lottery luck. Like the hockey gods punished you severely in this lottery draft just to get you to the player that turned out to be the best, even if he was viewed as maybe the 4th best prospect at most, because that wasn't a locked-in consensus pick like the first 3. Like really, the Red Wings had all these other players they like could have taken, and some people might have expected them to take. So Raymond wasn't by far a consensus pick there, but certainly the Red Wings made the right choice there. Lucas Raymond's my favorite player now, so that's he's incredible. Love watching him play.
It's funny how that works, right? Bam said LeBron said his draft was rigged. Well, Bam, yeah.
No, like did they tell him? I guess they must have told him.
I would agree that the stars just so happened to align that the kid from Cleveland would be a Cav. It was a beautiful story. I believe it was rigged too, Bam.
So it was him leaving Cleveland his way of trying to make it right. Like, you didn't really deserve me, Cleveland, so I'm going to leave to go to Miami. That's what made his decision.
Probably, but I think he really wanted to play with Dwayne Wade, and I think he was tired of dragging that. Like, he dragged that team to the finals, and then the next year, like, Boston kicks his ass in Boston, and it's like, yeah, I don't have the juice here to beat Boston, so let's go to Miami and do it. And this is the right decision.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all the hockey talk I have. Playoffs look pretty fun coming up.
Did you get a chance to talk about curling during my technical? Let's go into curling.
So just had the World Championships. Like, the men's World Championships was 48 hours ago. So I guess first thing, I want to actually start with the women. Talk about like all-time greats. So Team Rachel Homan, back-to-back world champions. So go Canada, back-to-back gold medals at the Women's World Championships in curling. They hadn't before 2024. They hadn't won the gold medal since 2018. Which is for Canadian curling, that's a long drought, almost panic-inducing. So thank you, Rachel Homan, for ending that drought. Her team, they play out of Ottawa. So her, Emma Miskew, they've been teammates since they were in junior curling. They grew up in Ottawa. Sarah Wilkes as well. So Ottawa is actually, it's funny, Keely's not here, but that's where he lives.
Okay.
And so it's funny that part of the team is from there, but also part of the team that they've added a third member. Their fourth member recently. Tracy Fleury joined the team when Joanne Courtney, one of their players, retired. And Fleury had been a skip herself. So skip is usually the leader of the team, the person who's calling the game, holding the broom. Curling, you're throwing the rock to the broom down the ice, but it's going to curl. So like the skip, the leader has to know, I have to place the broom here because it's going to curl this much. And that's a skill set in itself. So the skip's usually really good at ice reading, knowing when to get the sweepers to sweep, where to put the broom, and typically a lot of them will throw last, and they're really good shot makers. Tracy Fleury was a former skip, and they asked her on to the team, and now they got 2 really great shot making skips who read ice really well. And Tracy Fleury is actually from Sudbury, which is where I'm from, or where I live now, and I've actually met her at the Sudbury Curling Club before. So to see like this team with like these kind of hometown connections, like here from Northern Ontario, go and not only win the Worlds, but the last 2 seasons. And this is, I think, this is their 3rd year together, and this is a team that was made at the start of the quadrennial. Since curling's an Olympic sport, teams do tend to view it as a 4-year cycle. So this quadrennial going from 2023 to 2026 Olympics, which are next February. And so this team was created. Tracy Fleury joined this team at the start of this quadrennial. And the first year there was some growing pains. They still had success, but not quite the same level of success as they've had the past 2 seasons, and it's unreal. Their record the past 2 seasons is 126-12, a 95% winning percentage. And over the course of the 2 seasons, they've won 15 tournaments, including 2 World Championship gold medals. To have more tournament wins than total losses is crazy. Like the World Championship, for instance, is a round robin tournament. I think it's 13 teams. You play 12 round robin games plus potentially 3 playoff games. So that's a lot of curling for just one tournament. And yet, and not all tournaments might be that long, but you're still playing multiple games every tournament, and they have, again, fewer losses in the last 2 years than they do total tournament wins.
So, a question about that: when football's once a week, are these tournaments every weekend, or are there multiple tournaments in a week?
Oh no, it'll usually be like some of these tournaments almost take like a week and a half, right? So
okay,
you might not have a spiel absolutely every week. Like you might, and teams don't necessarily have. It's kind of like golf. Like not every golfer is going to play every event either.
Okay,
but it's also like golf. Usually, it's just 4 days, right? Like typically, these curling bond spiels are longer than 4 days.
Okay,
almost the minimum is maybe a Tuesday to a Sunday. 5 games might be like the minimum. Like some of these are like a full week event at times. Like some of these like national and world championships, they're a Saturday or even a Friday to the next Sunday. So it's like a week and a half. So
and are you doing?
They don't have them every week.
Are you doing 1 game per day, or is it like 2 per day?
Sometimes you do 2 per day. Yeah.
Okay. And how long does a normal game last?
2.5, 3 hours.
Oh my goodness. So what's
teams have a total time they can use during their shots. It's almost like chess in that once the opponent's rock comes to a full stop, your time goes until once you throw. There's a lot of lines and circles in curling, but there's a sort of a line that kind of runs, I guess, parallel to the sheet of ice. Once you cross that line, that's when your time stops, and it's maybe about from where you're throwing, it's probably about 6 feet in front of you.
Okay.
That line, maybe even a little less. Anyway, so that's when you have 38 minutes through the whole game. So that's kind of like the time limits, but it's like baseball in that there's innings, there's ends. So typically, like in the World Championships, it's 10 ends. Each end, either team can score, but you're only going to get one team that scores per end. And it's whichever team is closest to the center of the circle at the end of the end.
Okay.
Which team is closest? And then if they have multiple rocks closer than the opponents, they'll score multiple points.
Okay. So is it like the first to 7, or is it like...
No, it's just typically like who has the most points at the end of 10 ends.
Okay.
Kind of like baseball, right? Like 9 innings, this many number of pitches. Once it's all done, who has the most points, that's the winning team. Okay. Curling's like that, but only the baseball, they split it to the top of the inning and the bottom of the inning because each team is not playing offense, defense at the same time. In curling, just you alternate shots. One team throws, the other team throws. The advantage is to have the last rock each end, because if you're the last one throwing the rock, you get to have the most impact on directly what happens at the very end when it comes to a stop. So if you have the hammer, they say, and they throw last, your expectation is you want to score 2, because if you're forced to only 1 and you give the other team the hammer back, it's viewed as a negative. If the end is blanked and there's no point scored, the team with hammer retains. So you'll also see that in curling at times where teams will intentionally take a 0 in an end just so they can retain that hammer. Because scoring that 1 point, unless you absolutely need that 1 point in the final end, it's typically not a good thing. And having that hammer is usually viewed as worth more than 1 point. You want to be able to at least get 2, if not multiple. But again, the other team can still score. Like that's called stealing an end when you score without hammer, and that definitely happens. So
okay. So how does one get? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you saying?
Okay. It's the fun aspect of curling that, again, unlike baseball, when the team's on defense, they can't score in that particular inning. But with curling, because it's all happening at once, like each team has the opportunity to score every end, but only one team will score in each end.
So how does one get the hammer? Is it a coin flip? Is it home team gets the hammer until someone takes it? How does that
typically
work?
What happens in tournaments is during the round robin, there's a draw to the button. So each team will get, I think, 2 throws each from the hack to the other house to try and get closest to the pin.
Okay.
And whoever is closest will start with the hammer. Now, in these tournaments, when they get to the playoffs, they go by ranking. Okay, round robin set seedings. The 1 seed will get the hammer, and they also usually get to choose their rock color as well. In the round robin, I think it's randomly assigned. There's usually 4 sheets of ice, and through a round robin, you'll play every sheet once and maybe some of them twice. And you usually play every sheet twice, maybe sometimes 3 times or 4 times, and you'll get at least one of every color on each sheet. So you'll get to use every rocks at least once through the tournament. But then when it gets to the playoffs and not all 4 sheets are being used, like in the semifinals or in the quarterfinals and semifinals, there's 2 sheets being used. So sheet A and B, you can, if you're on one of those sheets, you can pick from those 2 for the rocks. Same on C and D. So because as much as the curling rocks are all made the same, each usage, they get little characteristics. The band that runs along the ice, it's pretty thin. Sometimes some of them curl more than others. So matching rocks is also part of a skill set. Like, it's not just the throwing accuracy, reading the ice, reading the curl, knowing when to sweep, when not to sweep, and then also matching rocks pregame and like even in game. Like, you might see a team like, oh man, this rock's a cutter. I didn't quite see that. So you throw it to the lead, right? The person who's shooting first, their shots are typically easier. So you give them the mismatched rocks because the skip, whoever's throwing last, you want them to have the best chances because they're typically throwing the hardest shots and certainly the most important at the end.
I did not. Okay.
All right. So all that in mind, that's the context. Team Holman to go 95% winning these past 2 years is insane. And it's, as a Canadian, you almost just hope they haven't peaked too early. Can they keep this going next year? Canada and the States both do this, where team chemistry is so important in curling. It's 4-person per team. So at the Olympics, you're not just gonna, not like with with basketball, you're taking all the best players and building a team. Although we saw, that wasn't necessarily the case either. If Jaylen Brown wasn't on the team, right? Like they at the back end, we're skill sets, right? We're still team building from that standpoint. Well, like the elite of the elite, we'll just pick them regardless. And the back end will build around skill sets. So sorry, Jaylen Brown. Curling though, there's so many good curlers. There's so many good teams. It would be so hard to pick just 4. So typically because again, like each person's throwing motion will be different. So a team skip, reading the ice, seeing someone who they're familiar, seeing throw, that's so important that they want that team chemistry to exist. So they want to send whole teams to the Olympics. So in Canada and the United States, typically November, December, they'll have a curling trials tournament. And so the team that wins that tournament will be the team that represents at the Olympics. So as great of a season Team Holman has had these past 2 years, they're not guaranteed going to the Olympics. They've got to win that trials tournament in November. And that's going to be huge pressure because Rachel Holman herself has participated in 2 Olympics and has left both times without a medal.
Wow.
Dominant. She's got 5 national championships, 3 world championship gold medals. Like, she's one of the most dominant curlers ever. But yet at the Olympics, she's swung and missed completely, with left both times without a medal. Didn't make the playoffs in either event. So there's going to be pressure on her and this team to get it done at the trials, to get back to the Olympics, and to this time get it done. I mean, they're playing, like, she's curling better than she ever has. That whole team is playing better than they ever have. So there's thought that if they can get there, they stand a really good chance to correct those zeros of the past and leave there, not just with a medal, but with a gold medal. But they still got to win the Olympic trials, so that there's no guarantee. And I know for Canada, this is the best preparation for the Olympics, is if you can go and win this type of event, like that as close as you can simulate the pressure of the Olympics. So great.
Is it because she's choking, or the light's too bright, or?
Well, I know, there's in theory in curling, there's 2 main shots you can throw: a draw, which is placing the rock in a precise spot, or hitting, throwing with power to either move rocks around. You're hitting, I want to move this rock to a spot I can't draw to, so I'm going to hit off something to then have it redirect to the spot I want to get to. Rachel Holman's always thrown with incredible power, been one of the best hitters on tour since she's become a professional curler. But the drawing was something that was not as well developed, we'll say.
Okay.
And I think those Olympic losses really forced her to look in the mirror and say, I got to get better at drawing. And it certainly looks like she has. So I think it's just that technique of trusting your draw weight, be able to place a rock in a perfect spot and not always have to hit your way into every complex situation. I think that's allowed her to grow as a shot maker, but also as a game caller. I don't have to set everything up to always be hitting. I can set things up to draw at the end. And I think that's enabled her to just become the best curler she possibly could. So I think if they do make it, I think they will be in a good position to win a gold medal.
You sold. Where do I watch this?
Man, it's tough. It's tough in Canada. It's easy because they show a lot on TSN. So there's actually a tournament. So the tour tournaments, they call them the Grand Slam of Curling. There's usually 5 or 6 tour events. Grand Slam of Curling has a website, and you can live stream some games on that website. And I think that's available anywhere. So Grand Slam of Curling. So there's an event going on this week right now. So these next few days through Sunday, there'll be some of the live stream available on the Grand Slam of Curling website
For free?
Yeah, for free.
My favorite word.
This is the last event of the year, essentially. So this is like the last chance, and then there'll be some Grand Slam events starting, I think, in September. I don't know about the trials. I know, again, we'll be able to see it in Canada. I don't know if the Olympic trials will be available. There will be U.S. Olympic trials as well. So deciding that those Olympic teams. Now, the men have qualified for the Olympics. The women, though, so for World Curling Federation, how they decide their Olympics team, it's the host nation automatically gets in, and the previous 2 world championships before the Olympics, taking the combined results from those 2 years to decide the other 7 teams. So that'll give you 8 of the 10, and there will be a tournament. I think it's in December. It might be in December, a pre-trials tournament for the countries that haven't qualified yet.
Okay.
There'll be 2 spots available there. I think the U.S. need to get through those tournaments in both men and women's curling to be able to get to the Olympics. So neither of them are guaranteed to be in the Olympics yet.
Okay.
So what I think they'll do is they'll have the trials first. Whichever team wins the trials has to go win that tournament. And if they're one of the top 2 teams in that tournament, they get to the Olympics, and then we'll go and play in the Olympics. So the U.S. there's some pressure there. Couldn't quite get enough points in this year's Worlds on either side, men or women, to be able to.
Well, the U.S. hasn't been able to get a lot of points in anything recently. So
on the men's side, Bruce Mowat from Scotland, they just won their second world gold, won in 2023 as well, and they're the defending Olympic silver medalists. So a somewhat younger team than some of these others on tour. Just like Team Holman, they were the number 1 team this year. I think they had something similar, maybe not quite as extreme as the 95% winning percentage, but I think they won 5 or 6 tournaments with only maybe 15, less than 20 total losses. So it was an incredible season. And again, they came so close last Olympics as a really young team in their Olympic debuts. Now, Scotland is a country that they will name their teams to the Worlds and to the Olympics. So unlike Canada and the States, Team Bruce Mowat knows they're already going to the Olympics next year. They've already kind of announced they're going to be the Olympic team. There's another really strong Scottish team, skipped by Ross White. They're going to be named to the World Championships next year.
Okay.
Even though they've won the Scottish National 2 years in a row, the Scottish Curling Federation is still naming Bruce Mowat to go. Last 2 years, because 2 years ago they were the defending champs, and this year you could have made that discussion. Well, they didn't medal last year, but they still sent them anyway, and it was the right call. They won the gold medal. So Sweden, Scotland, Switzerland, those tend to be countries that they'll just send their best teams. In Canada right now with Homan, you might make the argument they should switch to that because she's so dominant, but that's the Canadian way, is to win through the trials. But just to put back in perspective, again, this 95% win percentage over less losses, total losses than actual tournament wins. We haven't seen something like that. I remember reading a stat last year. It went back to like 1993, 94.
Wow.
Russ Howard's team, a legendary team with Russ, his brother Glenn, an accomplished skip on his own, and then Wayne Middaugh. Like, all 3 of these guys turned into Canadian champion skips on their own, but all 3 were on one team. Is almost like a reverse super team. They started together on this crazy good team, and then each part of their own ways and had individual success. Like that was like mid-90s, 93, 94. That was the last time we had seen a crazy season like Holman had last year. So almost 30 years since we've seen anything like this.
Wow.
She just went and did it 2 years in a row. So for something so not unprecedented, but so rare to see, and they just, we'll do the exact same thing the very next year. It's kind of a crazy 2-year stretch that Team Holman's on. And as a Canadian, I hope it's a 3-year stretch, and they win the Olympic gold medal next year. So shout out to Team Holman again from Ontario, Ottawa, and member from Sudbury.
I don't know. I can't think of another sport where someone's been that dominant.
I mean, look at World Championships. Nicholas Edin from Sweden, he has 7 World Championships on the men's side.
Sheesh.
No one has more than 4. That's the next highest. That feels like Tom Brady, right? 7 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah.
No other quarterback has more than 4. So Nick Edin, who was still, I mean, this year they still made the playoffs. He's towards the end of his career. They're the defending gold medalist too. He's been to, I think, 4 Olympics already. He went 4th place, bronze, silver, and gold in each of those 4 appearances. So he finally made his way to the top, and a ton of world championships in between. So
that's
shout out to Nicholas Edin, who again, Sweden. Part of the reason he gets 7 worlds though is Sweden is a country they will name him, so he doesn't have to win like a national championship to go to the Worlds. So that spot at the Worlds is almost guaranteed.
Okay.
But you still have to win when you're there, and for him to win as much as he has is crazy.
That's insane. I had no idea.
Yeah. Rachel's at 3 right now, so Team Homan still young, still have some time to get up to that type of total, but certainly looking like one of the strongest teams we've ever seen. Currently dominating right now. Gotta love it. Gotta love dominance in sports, right?
Yeah, dominance is great for sports. I don't care what people say. You need a villain, and dominance is better than parity, I think.
It's more engaging. Like dominant teams generally views go up. Like,
yes,
so people want to see, as much as everyone loves the Cinderella stories. I tend to like the pure sports watchers might be more inclined to like someone who's going to watch no matter what. They might want to see the underdog. But the masses who don't necessarily tune into every game, they want to see the dominant teams. If I'm going to bother spending my time, I want to see the great teams.
Correct. Exactly. And like football is more interesting when the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Sorry. That's just like dominance wins.
I mean, the 3-peat story was definitely a huge story. Now, how is the NFL going to live up to this?
Oh, hopefully an Eagles
3-peat. The Eagles started 3-peat, right?
The Eagles 3-peat. There's one more note. I think you wanted to cover something on the Masters before we get out of here. The Masters starts.
Do you watch golf? Like, are you?
No, I can't. I've tried. My ex-brother-in-law used to play. He would try to get me to come, and for the life of me, I just can't. I just never got into it.
I know my parents love golf. I mean, they play a ton of golf, but they also watch a lot of golf. Like,
okay.
Growing up, it was regular to just all day Saturday, Sunday, just golf being on TV. So I've kind of got accustomed to just watching tons of golf, but man, Augusta National, where the Masters is played every year in Georgia, one of the most beautiful golf courses around. So just as someone who's worked at golf courses before too, I can appreciate the greenskeeping of maintaining such a beautiful course, but then to have like best players in the world all appear at this tournament. It's one of the 4 majors, but it also feels like it's the major that almost means the most. It's the first one. Anyone who wants to kick off I want to win all 4 majors in 1 year, which I suppose is we'd call that pulling a tiger. He never did it in 1 year. I think he went PGA Championship, the last major in 2000, and then won the first 3 of the next year in 2001. So he held all 4 trophies at once, but then he didn't win all in the same year. But that's about as close as you can get. Like that's everyone crazy. Wants to do that. So the first step is you have to win the first one.
So who's the favorite to win the Masters this year?
Well, so last year was the year of Scottie Scheffler. He won, I think, 7 or 8 tournaments. One of the best golf seasons we've seen since like those dominant Tiger years in the early 2000s. And he won 2 majors, including the Masters. So he is defending champ.
Okay.
And he won it in 2022 as well. So he's won 2 of the last 3. He make it 3 of the last 4. Right. Now, the one thing with Scheffler, he hasn't won a tournament yet this year. Incredible season last year and has yet to win one. He's come close. He was 2 weeks ago. Can't remember which tournament it was, but he finished second to Min Woo Lee. So that was that kind of gave confidence to think that good showing, that second place finish a couple weeks ago, is that the tune-up he needs. He goes back to a familiar course where he's won, and this is what kicks off a great season here. This gets to be his first win of the year. Maybe another one everyone's talking about is Rory McIlroy. He's been it's funny, he's been playing for a while, and he was, Tiger's true dominance really ended in 2008. It was that US Open that he won on very visibly a weak knee, but he still grinded out and won the US Open that year. But that really, he then immediately needed surgery. I don't think he golfed for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And that's what started the rash of injuries and other things that just kept piling up. And he had I think it was 2011 or 2012. He came back, and I think he played maybe 10 events on the year and won 6 of them. That was maybe the last time we see oh man, really good Tiger over a course of a whole season. Then he had the the Masters win in 2019 to kind of really cap off his career. But after that 2008 season, we were always wondering who's going to be the next Tiger, who's going to be that next dominant force. And Rory kind of came on the scene around that time. He was a young kid from Northern Ireland and a big hitter like Tiger, but really good with the short game and putting as well. And he won some majors early in his career. I think he had 4 major wins between 2011 and 2014. But he's still looking for number 5. And I think the Masters is the one he hasn't won. So he puts a lot of pressure on himself to finally win this one. He's already won 2 tournaments this year, so he's having a good season.
Okay.
I know I was talking to my mom. I visited my parents a couple weeks ago, and she was kind of thinking, like, in her mind, like, Rory kind of enters as the favorite because he's had the 2 tournament wins this year, including the Players, which is kind of viewed like by the players themselves as like the 5th major. It's not officially a major, but it's a super important tournament. So he's got the momentum going right now, it seems. So I think Rory might be viewed as the betting favorite right now. But something about Scheffler, you don't do seasons like he did last year by accident. So he's just waiting for another win, and he's on the verge of it. So I would put him as my kind of pick. And to Bam's point, Rory almost won. I think it was the U.S. Open last year, and he missed 2 incredibly short putts that he probably shouldn't have, and lost by 1 stroke.
Ooh.
You just make one of those, you at least get a chance in a playoff. And that looked like the weight of, man, it's been, I guess last year was 2024. It's been 10 years since I've won a major, and he finally thought he was going to end the drought. And to Bam's point, he kind of choked it away last year. Is that going to weigh on him, right? Like, is the longer this major drought goes for Rory, the harder it gets? Maybe we'll see. Maybe the Masters, maybe he finally ends the career drought at the Masters, never having won that major, and this 10-year major drought overall, not having won I think he won the PGA Championship in 2014. That was the last time he's won any of these 4 majors. So, he wants to end it, and he's going to put pressure on himself to end it here. But we'll see. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Scheffler, just because he's gotten it done on this course. And unlike the other majors, this stays at Augusta every year. So this is the only major where it's at the same course every single year. So those who have won it, they know the course well. It kind of gives them an edge. And that's like how Tiger won in 2019. So far, late into his career, he knew the course really well. He knew how to handle, how to manage it, how to not shoot over par on the last day, and like how to not take a bunch of risks. And that 1 year in 2019 when Tiger won that Masters, it was crazy. It was a super crowded leaderboard, and as the course kind of went further on, you got to the back 9, you got to Abed quarter, guys started bogeying more, and Tiger was just consistently parring, maybe an occasional birdie. Knew what he had to do to beat the course, but also beat everyone else. So the Masters really is that one of those courses where if you know how to win on it, that gives you a huge edge over those who haven't yet won on it. So
okay.
I had to look at Scheffler and McIlroy. I'd give the edge to Scheffler, who's won twice in this tournament already in recent years, 2 of the last 3.
Okay. Because it starts today's Tuesday. It starts Thursday, right?
Yeah, we got 2 days, less than 48 hours. That's gonna start early Thursday morning.
Okay. Yeah, that's usually the first sign of spring for me, is like Augusta.
Man, we had a blizzard this weekend, so it didn't look anything like spring here in Canada. But yeah.
Good grief. No, thank you. I'm good. It was 50 degrees today, and I was freezing.
Oh, today was nicer. I mean, today is still, it's not close to 50. It's -7, so like Celsius, -7 Celsius.
Oh, okay.
But that's still like 28 or whatever.
Yeah, that's still below freezing.
But it was nice because it wasn't snowing all day. It was sunny. It was actually a nice day, even though it's you guys like 25 degrees. Like oh yeah, decent. Yeah, you could go out with only 1 or 2 jackets on instead of the full winter gear. Sunday, Monday, we're pretty ridiculous, to be honest.
Do you have a gooseneck?
A gooseneck? Oh no, I don't. Man, some of those brand name stuff is way too expensive. Like there's good quality winter gear that doesn't have to be so expensive.
Oh, I just in DC.
I'm not going to climb Everest or anything. Like, I'm just trying to go for a walk outside.
Well, I think goosenecks are popular in DC now, and people are getting robbed on the trains for their goosenecks.
Oh wow! Okay.
Because I mean, it's a $700 coat. They rob people on trains. Kyle, this has been amazing. I appreciate your time. I learned a lot tonight. Thank you for holding it down while my computer went off the fritz. Can you tell the people one more time where they can find you, where they can listen to more of your insight, where can the people find you, Kyle?
Yeah, so I mentioned again, you can follow me on, I guess I'll say it your way, the Bird app, at Senra Says. X app, I guess. There's no longer a bird. But yeah, at Senra Says, which you'll name a lot of my fantasy teams as well as Senra Says. So yeah, I love playing fantasy football. Do contribute here to Going for Two. Right now, mostly rankings. So I've got the Dynasty rankings, also rookie rankings available on Going for Two right now. There's a few of us part of those rankings. I'm part of them. So you can see my individual rankings, but you can also see our aggregate rankings for those two facets. So Dynasty for all positions, including rookies, but then we also have separate rookie rankings as well for upcoming rookie drafts. Be contributing, Going for Two live shows throughout the NFL season. We'll do special events like the NFL draft, which again, I expect Danny and Dee will probably at least do one segment there. I've typically done a lot on the Saturday, but I'll join the other days as well. PLPs, which we do here at Going for Two. I don't think we've started up any yet, but Personal League Podcast, which is there's a form to fill out on the GoingFor2.com website. So aside from Going for Two, I last year joined a new venture at a new site called Fantasy Six Pack. I mean, Fantasy Six Pack's not a new site; it's been around for a little bit, but I'm new there. I started doing my goal line guide article series for them in season, and this year I've expanded my role, and I'm doing a live stream every Wednesday called Dynasty Six Pack. Jamie Pirog, who's also in the chat. Rahul Natarajan, another Going for Two Live family member, I believe was part of the fantasy assessment last NFL season. With those two guys, I mean, we have great conversations about Dynasty. We're now in the middle of, it's April, so that's the one sign of spring, Danny, is rookie draft season. And so we did running backs last week, wide receivers tomorrow night, and then quarterbacks, tight ends leading into the NFL draft. I think next week we'll probably also do a mock draft. So if anyone wants to join us live on the what day will that be? That'll be the April 16th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. Join us live while we're doing our mock draft. We're probably going to have people from the live chat be making picks with us. So if you want to interact and make picks, check us out live there for sure. One last thing is I do sometimes write articles for the league winners. Most recently, I did a Packers article on free agency, which a lot of my rants about Aaron Banks earlier. We'll probably do something around the NFL draft after the Packers. I'll probably do an article recapping the Packers draft picks from the draft. So look for that early May. Yeah, Going for Two, Fantasy Six Pack, League Winners. Those are the three sites I currently contribute to.
Well, appreciate your time, Kyle, and always thank you for your support. I'll definitely be locked in because Lord knows I can't blow 102. Thanks everyone for joining us. You can find me, Danny Ocean41, on the Bird app and Blue Sky. In his absence, Losty Mix on Twitter. He was very active the other day. I think he got into a kerfuffle with someone on Twitter the other day. I was briefly following. Great time.
I think I saw that too. Yeah. I didn't care to look into that too deeply.
All I saw was sell a brick, and I was like, you know what? This one isn't for me. So.
Hope this episode was for you, though, everyone.
This episode 1,000%. But when I see someone advising another person to sell a brick, I usually just look the other way because I don't want to be any parts of that.
Thank you, Danny.
Oh no, it was a pleasure is all mine. We'll see you guys next week. Hit us up. Hold on, I always forget this just every show. If you want to send us an email, speakonitpod14@gmail.com. Speakonit_pod on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok. D has been saying he's going to make TikToks for the past year. We'll see how that. I don't know how to make a TikTok, and I don't want to learn because that is the old man inside of me. But we'll get there. Appreciate everyone. Again, shout out to Kyle. Thanks for all that you do. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys next week.